Eve.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Contagious Smiles Unstoppable. We're here with the ever so sexy vixen, Victoria. Of course, your redneck in the background, Michael. Our dogs are currently out of the room, but we have
The big dog.
to replace our studs. Here's the stud himself, Mike Machnac.
You said his name right. I'm very proud of you.
Well, can I have a hero cookie?
No.
I get mentioned as a stud after we get done talking about the dogs. I feel like maybe I have a job that I'm supposed to be doing that I didn't know about.
So glad he's here with us. We literally just grabbed him and brought him in here with us because we have a huge announcement we have not made public yet. And I'm going to throw him in the hot seat because he actually told me I was a pain in the ass. So I got to earn that title. Go ahead and tell everybody about our wonderful partnership.
Well, you're looking at Michael while you're asking me. You're talking to me, right?
I am the other Mike, Mike squared.
Right. So I'm super honored and thrilled and humbled to announce on behalf of Victoria and myself that we have combined forces to bring the work that I've been doing in the mental health sector and the caregiving sector, along with her trauma-informed recovery work, out to the masses and try to really reach so many people that are what I call our most at need populations that are living day to day in our societies, in our houses, in our towns, that are just trying to hold it all together and make ends meet against whatever it may be, mental illness, PTSD, and other kinds of trauma. And I'm just thrilled that this wonderful, wonderful woman and her fantastic husband would give me the time of day to bring me on. Look at that look. Give me the time of day and bring me on and think it to endeavor forward with the next phase of my story and my career here. So there's your announcement. Is that good enough?
That's amazing. He is a 30-year veteran attorney. He is not like boosting his own resume and telling you that. He also has the coalition, the Care Coalition, and he has all sorts of amazing things that are going to be. My husband's chewing at the bit. What do you want to say to him? What do you want to ask?
No, I'm waiting on you to finish.
No, I'm done. Go ahead. I don't want to get in the middle of the mic sandwich.
So you brought up something earlier, Mike.
Mike and Mike.
The question was posed to Victoria. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah. You're a little soft.
Well, my ED issues won't be brought up during this interview.
No.
See what you got?
How about now?
Yeah, that's much better. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's my microphone over yonder. You asked Victoria, how did we even meet? And right. we did about an hour and a half, about hour and 22-minute conversation with Amir from the Blacklist. He played a Ram Mustabai on there. I don't know if you've seen the Blacklist, but he talked about how everything had to come together at a certain time, at a certain place, right? You were out fishing.
Yes.
And something amazing happened.
He let a turtle free.
A sea turtle happened to come by at the exact moment that y'all were out there fishing. And
well, you know what happened? Actually, we went by the poor sea turtle that was already trapped in a makeshift long line.
Okay.
And as we were going by, we were like, we got to stop and connect with this thing and get it back out to its mommy and daddy. Or actually, it was it was big. You saw the picture.
Big turtle.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have happened had y'all not been, 5 minutes late that morning, or an hour too soon.
Yeah.
So you coming together with Victoria and this collaboration, it was the perfect timing. So those of y'all listening out there in Radio Land, y'all need something from Mike. Okay, y'all are hearing this for a reason. You're meeting up with him. You're seeing this collaboration happen. So keep paying attention.
Thank you, man. Thank you for those kind words, and thank you for putting that sea turtle in our midst, because it was it was really gratifying to do that. It's funny. I get all kinds of feeds on my phone, and when I wake up in the morning, and I'm an animal nut. I love them, and I see a lot of the helplessness of some of these poor animals, and I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect that we're doing this right now and letting this animal go. I mean, there are, five guys on a boat. We're 50 miles offshore. There's some guy out there with a fake long line that, was just not supposed to be there. And this poor turtle was stuck in it. And what a beautiful creature he was. And what a beautiful creature you guys are together and what you guys have brought. And to bring it home that, yeah, I think it's fate. We were just talking offline about how here it is, April 21st, and we've been working together for all of what, how many hours?
Almost a week, almost a week.
Yeah. And it just dawned on both of us that, oh my goodness, next month is Mental Health Awareness Month. This is a collaboration that's just, yeah, I don't know, written in the stars kind of a thing, that, you know, I don't want to get too euphemistic, but you know what I'm saying.
So tell everybody about why. Why did you get into doing what you do?
Well, what I do, folks, is I started a nonprofit agency. I'm a lawyer. Don't hold it against me. I started a nonprofit agency back in 2000 was the planning, 2001, and then we rolled it out officially in 2002. And I developed a care treatment modality that basically is a care coordination model. I came up with this idea because I was practicing as a lawyer and saw that there is such a need for people who are willing and I don't know which one's more important, but and able. So you have willing and capable of acting in the benefit and for the best interest of other people, right? So I have a son who needs a fiduciary, a guardian, a conservator, or whatever you may call it. That's great. I can do that. But there's not a lot of people out there who are willing to step up and take that charge. So having spent my legal career up until that point in those trenches, it doesn't take long before you realize that the supply way out, surpasses the demand. And I thought that we can come up with a better way to help these folks on a day-to-day basis. And that's what I've done. And that's why I did it. And that's how it all came to be 25 years ago. Obviously, we're here to talk, well, in the future, we're certainly going to be talking a lot about how things have morphed and changed and what my goals are now and what my interests are. But that's really it. I saw that there was a huge chasms in the system and people were falling into those giant gaps and they needed and we need to figure a way to close those gaps up to help these people and their families get ahead and feel like they're being proactive and not just treading water. Treading water sucks. We want to move forward in life, and every single one of us deserves that. And I really believe in the work that I do and what we do and why we do it.
So how do we do it? How do we do a program?
Well,
What does the program consist of?
The real basis of it is, and I'll tell you this, if the system worked the way the system says it works, I wouldn't have a job, and that would be a great thing because then Mike and I could be out fishing and rescuing.
Hell yeah, brother.
We could be out rescuing more sea turtles. But really, it comes down to some real simple tenets, and that is, let's start talking about a patient by talking about the patient, right? Let's use the patient as our captain, as the commander of our ship, and say, where do you want to go? Where can we take you collectively? We have all these powers around us, right? Or all this education, etc. How can we take it to the next level? How can we take you to the next level and get you where you want to go? What are your goals, your dreams, your hopes, your desires? Because don't forget, folks, people with illnesses, people with mental illnesses, people with psychopathy, sociopathy, trauma, they're still people. And they have goals, they have their own wants, they have needs that need to be fulfilled, and it's our obligation on some level to lift them up and to help them to get there. So That's where we start, right? It's not about what I want and what Victoria wants. It's about what our collective pal here wants, how we can help that person get where they want to go. That's number one. And number two, as dumb as it sounds, is we really got to do better at communicating. We really have to teach ourselves, and we need to teach the world and the systems around us how to communicate within itself and outside of itself. And that, again, that's moving mountains, man. It sounds easy, it sounds simplistic and very basic, but when you have these systems that are set up the way they are now, these bureaucracies, to get them to move off of what they're used to is very, very difficult. That's the yeoman's work. That is where the real struggle comes in. And with that comes all my other C's, the 7 C's that I wrote about in my book, that, we can cut it down to 2 or 3 here. The final step really is to coordinate all that care. So you have 5 people, 10, 20, 30 people that are all working allegedly in concert for the benefit of one individual. Meanwhile, you have 5, 10, 20, 30 different treatment plans. You have 5, 10, you have all these different ways of applying their trade. What we really need to do is we need to coordinate that. We need to make sure that everybody is pulling in the same direction in that rowboat, so that we're not going in circles and we're not certainly going backwards. We want to make sure we're moving forward. We're all pulling the same way. We're communicating. We're giving good information in real time. And that, so you have that is the coordination model that really is what made the impact and changed the lives of thousands of people since we started our program 25 years ago.
So people get started, they come on, they join, and then what happens at that point?
We do an intensive and exhaustive records search, find out everything we can find out about this individual. Where have they been? When did it start? Where did that take them? Where did it take them next and next and next? What has been tried? What interventions have been tried? What medications have been tried? What worked and what didn't work? which becomes, believe it or not, very important when people start to try to repeat things that have been tried in the past. We want to know about the family. We want to know about the ecosystem that the person comes from, so that we can really, take that person for who they are, not who we want them to be. And then we take that team of providers that I described earlier, and we get involved and say, okay, now we're going to come in and we're going to make sure that you all are doing what you say you're going to do. Frankly, we come in and say, not that there's a new sheriff in town, because that's cliche, number one, and number two, it's too pushy. We are here to help all of you to be better coordinated and to collaborate and to share your resources for the benefit of person A, B, C, whoever it might be. And that's where the tough work begins, getting them to communicate with each other, getting them to understand that they need to communicate with their mutual client or patient, because that's just simply not done.
Right.
It's to the extent that it should be done. I mean, there is, obviously we talk, but to the extent that there's a sharing of information, a sharing of resources, I'm not holding any of the cards in up my sleeve. I'm giving you everything I got. I'm going to commit myself entirely to this team and especially to this individual. That's what we really push on. That's, and I'm not saying that. I don't think people in this world of ours, yours, Victoria, and mine, I don't think people are here because they're diabolical in any way. I think that they fall into the sameness trap, and we get used to doing things a certain way. I use this analogy. I know that in my place, near my house, there's an Italian restaurant, there's a Chinese restaurant, there's a sushi place, and that's where I go. I stay within my 2 miles. So think about it. When you get comfortable with these places, that's where you go. When you are a professional and you get comfortable with using Victoria as a resource or Michael as a resource, you're going to go to those guys all the time because that's what you know and that's where your comfort zone is. Well, we got to break some of those walls down, right? We got to think outside of that box that we've made for ourselves. And that's really a lot of the work that we're doing in my agency and in my private world.
Right. And it is because contentment, people just don't like change. And
No.
I can tell you from a person who's advocated for thousands of people when it comes to being an advocate for for special needs and for any kind of abuse, that they don't talk to each other. It's like they literally, you wait months and months to get in to see somebody. And then what do they have? 2 or 3 minutes. They read over your chart really quick. And then you get them for 10 minutes in the room. And then it's all right, see you later. And they don't talk to one another. There's like all these chefs in the kitchen and they're not speaking to each other.
There's two things to that point, and you're spot on. I spoke to a doctor 2 weeks ago who told me that they have no more than 15 minutes to spend with any one patient, and they have no more than 3 minutes to research the patient's chart in terms of giving them an idea of what, history. That's downright scary, but
It
that's
is.
the system that exists. The other thing that really gets me going, and I'm going to get Michael fired up here because he's probably just like me. Every time I go to a new
Scary.
doctor, I got to fill out the questionnaires. I got to fill out the same information for every doctor. And it's maddening. What happened to this great client patient portal stuff we were all told was going to change the world of healthcare and everybody was going to communicate with each other? Well, I'll tell you, that is not happening.
No, it's
Because
not.
I have to fill out new forms with every doctor I go to. Well, this guy's in Hartford Hospital. This guy's at Yale Healthcare. This guy's at Joe Blow Healthcare. So, of course, they don't talk to each other. And the fact that they don't talk to each other leads to duplication of services, horrible inefficiencies in our service system, wastes of money, wastes of time, and waste of dignity, as you were talking
Yes.
about earlier.
The human dignity, absolutely. And it's not just that, it's the fact that like even if you are in one hospital, and you're like down in Atlanta, Emory is huge. Emory's everywhere. But it's say you go to a cardiologist or you go to a neurologist or you go to an endocrinologist and they're all within the Emory system. They all make you fill out the same paperwork. And there is a My Chart portal, but they don't check it. They don't
No,
look at each other, so they have no idea whether they're winding their butt or itching their watch. They don't know. They have no idea.
I like that one. I never heard that one before. I
Quite
get
a
a
few
lot,
of those in
I
my
get a
little.
lot from you Southerners when I hang around and pay attention.
So talking about fired up, we spent what 5 weeks? I say 2.5 months because you know how I've been exaggerating their numbers at the hospital with our daughter, and these SOBs would come in there every freaking day to get my daughter's temperature, and none of them would read the damn chart,
Right.
and they would all say, "Open your mouth, stick it under your tongue." Well, that's not happening, Ace. If you
Right.
read the chart, she has a very small tongue,
And the anatomy is different, way in the back.
and it would piss me off so much, Mike. And so
We even had it on the whiteboard,
right,
Yeah.
temperature to be taken axillary. Like, and still,
Yeah.
they don't even speak to each other at all.
But no, but I mean, and that image is just alarming. Honestly, it's not only is it disrespectful, but it's going back to the dignity issue and
That's
the
right.
dignity for her, but also as you as the parent sitting there, and you would just want to say, did you look at the white? What the hell did we take the time to write this on the board for? And if you're just going to blow it off anyway,
Right.
and yeah, I mean, and then the first thing I thought when Michael was saying that was, hey, the worst place to get any rest is in the hospital, right?
That's so
Every
true.
minute somebody's coming in to poke you or stick something in your mouth or wherever else they got to stick something, and yeah, so that's kind of a great example in a nutshell of this idea of just I go from patient to patient to patient. Here we go. I got a job to do, and far be it for me to beat up on the medical system or doctors and nurses, because I don't believe that we should. I mean, those people care. They wouldn't put in the time and the energy and the money and the heartache that they put in if they didn't care. But again, I think that the system financially, just the way our medical system is run, just beats you into this submission of, oh my goodness, I've got to see so many patients. I have to get them in, get them out. And that's where it really becomes tragic.
Yes, absolutely. So, what are you and I going to accomplish together as partners?
Everything. No, I think that this common sense approach that I love that you guys have, I think that if we could just get that word out there to so many people, and this isn't, listen, it's funny because my girlfriend and my son both said the same thing to me. Don't go on your podcast all the time, and don't go out there and make your speeches and just complain. It's not always a bitch fest. And I said, I agree with you. And I wish that I could say that I had the solutions for everything in the world. I really do. But I think that what's just as important is shining a light on the fact that there are issues. There are everyday real people go through issues in these various systems. You're not alone if you're going through it.
Right.
There's other people that are on that same crazy train with you. And share your story with them so they could learn from it, and listen to their story so you can learn from them, and ask the questions and raise your hand. So it's not about, I don't necessarily have all the answers, but I have at least an acknowledgement that you're right. There is a problem here, and we collectively can raise awareness about it more than anything. And I think if nothing else, you and I can certainly talk the talk a dog off a meat wagon, and while we're at it, let other people know that it's valid, that their position is valid, and there's strength in that.
There's a lot of strength in that. It really is. And like I tell people all the time that like my husband was like, "You got this award for advocate." And I'm like, I didn't get it. It's everybody else that allows me the opportunity to help them. That's where I get it from. It's not me. It's the fact that I have these beautiful people that have trusted me to help them. And because of that, it's the recognition is because of them, not me. And to pay it forward and not have somebody go through this by themselves and to make them feel so alone, because especially when you're going through it, whether it's a mental health crisis or an emergency room or whatever the case may be, unless you've ever been through it, you don't understand it. And it is consuming. You feel like, have I done enough? What more could I have done? There's got to be answers. When someone isn't in this field and they don't know the day in and day out, it is overwhelming. It is like you are drowning because you want to help your loved one, but you don't know how. And these people are not listening to you. They're not talking to you. You could say, hey, he's autistic. He's having a mental, issue right now. He's having an episode. Can you do this? This de-escalates the situation. They won't even listen to you. They just immediately drug the person, put him into a padded room, put him in paper clothes, and there goes human dignity.
What, I don't know how to say it any different than that.
Yep.
What else? I mean, Dev's spot on, spot on.
Yeah, I saw that time and time again. I don't know if you're aware, Michael, that I was in law enforcement for 13 and a half years.
Yeah.
And one of my stints was sheriff's deputy in the county jail. And yeah, we saw him bring him in like that, not understanding that, there was something more wrong than they assumed,
But they don't even want to take the time. It's just like, if they're having, especially if you're autistic, you don't put your hands on. There's always a way to de-escalate the situation. Always. But instead, you're like, oh, I have 4 more hours till I can get out of here. This one's going to hold me up. I got yoga to get to. I'm just going to give them Versed, or I'm going to give them, whatever. I'm going to calm them down, shut them up, put them in the room, and that's it. And they can wait for eval. That's not right.
I just told this story, I don't know, a week ago. I was out in Las Vegas a week ago, and I was having this conversation very similar to this with somebody, and I brought up two anecdotes that I can think of right off the top of my head. We had an individual older guy, was living in a community. He had mental health issues, and he went to the hospital, to the emergency room, something like 17 times in the course of 31 days or 32 days or something like this. He was kept complaining that his arm hurt. So he'd go to the emergency room complaining that his arm hurt, and they would say, okay, lift your arm up, move your arm this way, move your arm that way. Okay, you're fine. Everything's good. Send you home. Take some Tylenol, and call me in the morning or whatever. And after I get this case comes across my desk, I'm like, well, did the emergency room think to call down somebody from psych? Look at this guy's chart. He's been hooked up with the Department of Mental Health for 25 years. He's generally a good, quote unquote, good patient, and he's coming in here every other day or more than every other day, sometimes multiple times a day, telling you that his arm hurts when there's nothing wrong with his arm, and that's kind of that thinking outside the box. And to your point, let's just look at what time it is. Where are we at in the shift here? And this guy's going to hold me up for another hour. And I don't want to say that that's what goes, but it just feels like there could be a deeper dive into some of these things. I'm on a mini vacation right now, and I spent a good part of yesterday on the phone with a hospital because I have a client who, for the last, I'm going to tell you, 6 months or so, well, let's say 6 years, he has been gravely disabled. And in the last 3.5 of those years, he's been very stable. Well, all of a sudden, he starts abusing marijuana. Believe it or not, there's a syndrome. I can't remember what it's called. It's like CDS or CHS. Sure, somebody out there will Google you and tweet you or do whatever and tell you what it is. But smoking pot makes you physically sick. It hurts your stomach. It makes you nauseous. It makes you vomit. And this guy has that syndrome.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, he keeps going back to it and keeps going back to the pot and going back and smoking and smoking and smoking. And I had the same conversation with a doctor who knows him very well, and she agreed with me that something else is going on here. He just doesn't want to have that pot. There's something else going on in his mind, and we need to figure this out for his sake, get on top of that, because otherwise he's just going to keep in this spiral, and it's not doing anybody any good.
Right. Well, like you were talking about the guy who had the arm that was hurting, you would have to go in and imagine that, all of the nerves in the arm go to the back of the neck, which goes into like the base of the brain. So what if his signals are wired crossed, like, and something else is going on? You have psych, you have why can't you at least get a social worker down? Why don't
Well, and you bring the social worker down, and they have the 15 question thing that they're going to give you, and that wouldn't have helped them with this particular guy. But your point is well taken. What does it hurt?
Right.
You're in the same facility. Have somebody come down and take a look. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
I'm sure people can call us up and say, well, we can't do that because of this policy and this procedure and this and that and the other thing. But for every answer you can give me along those ways, I can probably come up with an answer right back at you, right?
So where do you see yourself in 3 months?
3 months. What are we in here? So May, June, July. I see myself out on the boat again, fishing with your husband.
Right.
Yeah. In terms of professionally, in 3 months, is that what you're asking me?
Yeah. Where is everything in 3 months?
I think that we're going to have some kind of a real global impact on things that you and I are going to roll out here over the course of the next 6 weeks. And good, bad, or indifferent, there's going to be a lot of people that want to talk to us about our approach and listening more than anybody's ever listened before, which is gratifying. It really is, because you and I have had this talk, so I'm not going to say anything that I'm not speaking out of turn. I have a nice job. I don't make a ton of money. I have a nice living, and I don't want for anything, neither do my kids, which is all that I care about. It's all you care about. But to be respected in the space that we're in is is overwhelmingly
Gratifying.
uplifting to me. I know I was going to use that word again, but I've used it a lot here today. I don't want to keep using the same word over and over again. But it's uplifting to me. It gives me the juice to come up with more content, be more creative, and come up with different ways that I can help people. And I don't know why. I mean, I'm not the huggy feely kind of person, but I really enjoy taking these systems and turning them on their head and shaking them if I have to make them pay attention to the needs of the people that they're meant to serve, right? And I know that that's where you're coming from, and I think that, with your tribe out there, and the way that the people care about what you speak about, that we may be opening some floodgates here that maybe some of your listeners even have been waiting to talk about and to open up about and share their journey with the people that I was talking about earlier who need to hear that.
Absolutely. And we talked earlier off about before we started recording, and it's true. This is the very first time ever. We've been podcasting for 4 years. Is it 4 years now? 4 years. And I have done well over 800 interviews, and we've done over 400 shows.
Yeah.
And I've never agreed to partner with anyone before. And the thing is that, and I told my husband after you and I met the first time, I was like, I love everything that this man stands for. I love everything that he does. And I was kidding around. I was like, and I can't get his name wrong, which is great.
Oh,
And so it's the fact that everything you do is so needed today, and it is so necessary. And it's like when I go out there, and there are times that I get called out as the domestic violence advocate, and I will be in a standoff with law enforcement out there and mental health response out there, and I'll be out there 6, 8, 10 hours at night. My husband, knows I can't talk on the phone, and it's like they are not listening to the individual. They are just immediately like, oh, be quiet. I'm going to sedate you. You get in the back of the van and I'm going to like tie you down. And it's like, why? They have a voice. Why can't they be heard? I mean, there's no reason to de-escalate a calmer situation. I mean, when they have an episode, they do calm down. And so when they've calmed down, this is when you talk to them like a person. And I can't tell you how many times people have said, thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing who I am, not my condition, not my disease, not my reason for my episodes. And the thing is that, we all have bad days. We all have episodes of our own in our own realm of way of life. But it's just, this was what they are dealing with, and they need a little compassion. I mean, they need a little understanding, and to know that this is something that we can group in together and help more people see that they have resources, but they don't know how to get to them, and that they are worth fighting for, and that there are things that can be done, because at the end of the day, they do deserve to be dignified. They do deserve to be treated with respect, because what if this was one of the clinician's kids or neighbors or significant other? They wouldn't want them to be treated this way, but they have no problem like, hey, dadgummit, it's 7 o'clock and I'm supposed to be out of here on a new date I met on, what is that thing, that swipe thing, Tinder or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be out of here. And
I don't know. I never heard of it. Don't know what you're talking about.
and that's just it. And to know, and I told my husband this, I was like, I read and researched everything about you, and it was like, how more in line could this possibly get?
Right.
And I told him that, and I was like, I have the abuse down, I have the advocacy down, I have the special needs down, and I'm very much in the mental health, but there are things that need to be put into place that aren't. And when I started seeing all this, I was like, he's got it. He's got the blueprint. He just needs how to get it out there in front of the right people. And I got that. So, I mean, what a match. Like, how perfect is that puzzle piece to come together?
Sea turtle.
What?
Sea turtle. Sea turtle.
Where did that even come? What?
That's my ADHD.
I got it.
You got it.
I understood the sea turtle. I think that
Amir got it.
Yeah. I wish you folks could see her face right now.
No, I'm the creep keeper.
I think that and I think I told you this, that when my work wife, Sarah, that's what I call her, she's my right-hand man woman, and
I'm so
she's
jealous. I thought I was the work
my,
wife.
well, but what, I'm not a
Stubborn.
polygamist. Is that what they call it when somebody who has multiple wives? I have one work wife, I have one regular wife, and that's all I need, trust me. But no, she and I, when we started this program, she was working down in New York City and had done an internship in my office, and I knew that she would be perfect for the work that I wanted to do. And way back then, our serious dream was that someday somebody would hear us talking and or hear about us and what we were trying to do and why we were trying to do it. And somehow, you get your fantasies going about all these big celebrities out there that can take your champion you, right? And somehow, some way, this woman, Victoria, has heard our story and is championing our mission. And I could not be more thrilled and more grateful to whatever powers it be, may be, whatever the sea turtle is that brought us together. It's like, really, you're talking 25 years of holding out that hope, and then all of a sudden the stars align, and here we are having a family conversation over dinner kind of a thing, and it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful.
It is. It's amazing. I'm so happy with this, and this alignment is amazing, and I couldn't even be happier. I did just finish your book, by the way.
The character book, I love that little book.
I was reading it too, Mike.
Yeah, I let him read it, and I was like, "You got to read this. It's so spot on. It really is. Everyone needs to
Let's
go.
Piston is the sea turtle.
Oh, brother.
You got to put that in the
Well,
next one.
the thing with character is that I believe that we are able to, well, I mean, science tells you that you are able to form and break your own habits, right? You can absolutely, and unfortunately it takes about 3.5 weeks, but you can absolutely create your own habits. And it got me to thinking, we can forge our own character. We can make ourselves into the person that we want to be. And that, folks, the tagline of the book is become the person that your social media friends already think you are. Because who does everybody put out there in social media? They only put out their best selves, their best me, their best us, right? So if you're fooling the rest of the world in what you're putting out there in social media and you have them believing that that's who you are, maybe it's time that you started to believe it too. And it's just little, I don't even know what you would call them, just these little euphemistic things that I came up with, little anecdotal stories or catchphrases that I came up with, and just explained how that impacts me. And my hope would be that somebody would pick up the book and read through it and say, let me chew on this one for a day or two and see how this one sits in my head. Like, be cool, be childlike. They all start with a C. I don't know why I'm hung up on the letter C, but and my girlfriend's name is Claire. How weird is that? But yeah, so you have, be childlike, be cool, charismatic, caring, just I don't know.
Comforting.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love that book. I love writing that book. That was fun. It's as you know, it's not War and Peace. It's an easy bite, you know?
Yes, it
So
is. Are you writing anything now?
I have several things in the hopper.
No.
I've been in a rut, man. Until I met you, I've been in a rut until, let's see, about this time last year, I really started climbing out of my rut. Not to bore anybody, but COVID hit and I wound up moving on in life, so to speak. I won't get too far into that, but I also wound up having cancer, prostate cancer diagnosis at the age of 50, and which is very young. And, also everything that goes along with COVID. So I fell into my own personal rut and I've been climbing out of it for a year and a half or so. And I have a whole bunch of great stuff that I've begun writing, and I'm really inspired to get going with getting back into that creative flexibility,
Good
if you
for
will.
you, Mike.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
are in remission and everything's great?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Shout out to my brother who as luck would have it, or bad luck would have it, went through the same procedure today. Yeah, and he's doing well. I heard from his wife not too long ago, and so we're
Good.
going to help him get through it just like I got through it. So,
Good.
yeah, all good
That's
there.
awesome. That's awesome. So what's next for the mics? Like, what's next? I know what you're about to say. So let's see what's next for my mics.
Hey, I just can't wait to see. She's done some beautiful work here. I come in from time to time to not edit, but to look and appraise her for what the design is of the day, because it's so much she's sending your way. So I'm not involved in everything, but every once in a while I'll peek my head in and say, "Hey, what are you doing? Do you need?" I'll bring her a sandwich or something, because I'm the house bitch, and refresh her unsweet tea.
Where can I get one of you?
You want
Yeah, and it's amazing, once you get into that mode of creativity, and especially if you're the type of person that Victoria is, and frankly I am, it's this prolific, overwhelming need to produce stuff, right? And Victoria has a really uncanny ability to see the need and create and produce stuff that matches that need. I could talk circles around it. She does it, and she creates imagery that is just so captivating that it brings it all into the fold really quickly. So my goal for the next, well, especially coming May, because that is Mental Health Awareness Month, we really want to take 30 plus years of my creativity, my prolific creativity, and making some sense out of it, and with Victoria's guidance, really getting it out there to in a way that is going to feel almost like shock and awe a little bit, and bombardment a little bit, but finally feeling a sense of continuity and adhesiveness. I'm going to mute my dog barking here in a second if he doesn't stop.
we don't
We
hear
can't
him.
hear him.
What's that?
We don't hear him. He's
Oh
so
no,
cute. Mackie's so cute.
Yeah, we can't hear him at all.
he's just winding up. He's doing
Mackie is so cute though.
He is a cute boy. He's a good boy. He's a little Havanese for all you guys listening out there. And he's staring me down right now. So that's my goal, is to really, start to feel, not start to feel, I feel this energy burst, but also to really start to see and participate in getting my act together, which needs to be done.
I am shocked that you have not mentioned that we are going to be doing a series.
Well, I am shocked that you haven't mentioned that we're going to be doing a series, because I'm following your lead on this one, and I keep peppering you with questions about it, and you are either teasing me or conveniently blowing me off or forgetting to answer. I want to know what your image is about
Wait. Hold on. I sent you a long email over what I thought the whole synopsis of the podcast series would be about.
So why are you asking me? Why don't you?
No, I thought you were going to talk about it on air tonight. It was like you were announcing that we're doing a podcast series together. That's
We've I have been asked by Victoria if I would participate in a podcast series with her, and we're planning right now. We just talked about 6 or 7 different episodes in a series. So I guess it would be a mini series, but knowing the two of us, it could wind up being a full feature film. Uh, and it's really exciting, because the stuff that we're touching on here, I think, is just the tip of the iceberg. And from my perspective, I don't want to say the name yet. You could tell the name if you want to, but I don't want to. But and getting back to that concept of offering answers or solutions, while I don't think we have that, I think that Victoria and I certainly have strategies. And I think one of the things that I want to bring out to people during the course of this series is strategies to help you to get you closer to the solution that you're looking for.
100%. And the one thing my husband, I can't believe hasn't chimed in for is I told him when I first met him, I said, I will tell you the truth and piss you off and lie, because my family.
Yes, she will.
I cannot lie. I don't, I cannot, like, if I try, they're like, my face tells it and I can't. And I never could, even when I was in high school, middle school, never could I ever pull that off. And it stinks. But I'm one of these people that deliver what I say and follow through 1,000,000%. And it was so funny because I'm going to end with this before my husband takes us out. Is this Mike Squared, says to me, "Go to bed." And my
Right.
husband laughed so hard I thought he was going to fall out of the seat because I don't even know how you, yeah, it'll be like 1 in the morning. He'll be asleep. He'll wake up. He'll be like, "You're still working." Great. Then 2 o'clock in the morning, "You're still working." Fantastic. Like, this is what I do.
Yeah. Well, and that's because you have been handed some kind of a gift that you have decided that you need to get out of your brain and out to other people. And when you have that motivation behind you, it's hard not to do it. You lay in bed and think about it. Well, you might as well get the hell up and go do it because
Exactly.
you're not going to go to sleep anyways. I mean, well, to full disclosure, I was I tried to get away from Victoria yesterday and go to the beach for a little while because I am supposed to be on a mini vacation, and I'm sitting at the beach, and all I could think about was what she put in my brain. So looked over at my buddy Matt. And I'm like, I got to go back to the house. I can't. I got to go back and I got to go back to work. I can't sit here and pretend to relax and chill out. I got too much process going on in my brain. And so thanks a lot for that, for ruining my whole beach day.
I'm sorry. At least you get to go to the beach.
You're right.
I tell you what, buddy, when I come down fishing on our trip, I'll mediate for y'all, okay? And I'll
Excellent.
tell her to leave you the hell alone.
Excellent. Excellent. But then you get the guilt. Oh, don't if I'm bombarding you, please tell me to stop. Yeah, that's not going to work either, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm telling you what.
Well, this has been great, Mike. I really appreciate you coming on our show at a spur of a moment and talking to us about the collaboration between y'all two.
Y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all too.
So if they want to find out anything about you, how can they get a hold of you, Mike?
Well, there's a number of places that they can locate me, but apparently I'm going to have a brand new website that's going to be
I have no idea where that's coming from.
yeah. MichaelMachnac.com. CareCoalition.org is a great place to find me right now. That's where you'll find this movement that I have been trying to put together of like-minded people who are, as I say, sharing that journey together on that path together, and really are concerned about some of the things we talked about here tonight, and making more awareness and making people feel more accepted with the path that they're on. So carecoalition.org right now is a great place to start. It'll bring you to my other work. And when michaelmachnac.com, the new and improved michaelmachnac.com is up and running, as soon as Victoria tells us we can let everybody know, and that's a good place to get me.
Yeah, I'll definitely put it out there.
All right.
No worries.
Well, thank you so much. And thank y'all for listening to another Unstoppable episode here at A Contagious Smile.